Hey, how's it going? In this video, I wanted to just briefly touch on one concept, and that is EQing solo or in the context of the mix, and which is preferred, what should you do. And spoiler alert, you should do both. Now, there's a lot of discussion around this. For example, if I'm looking at this and I was working on my wife's backing vocal here in this track, and I was saying, okay, I've got her backing vocal here. I've got an EQ on it. But maybe for whatever reason, I want to start working on these other frequencies and see if I can bring anything out. Well, if I was doing this in solo, that's very helpful. So I can go like this and I'll play it.
Every time you expect those eyes to complete the world for you, you'll find just what change can do.
Okay, so I might work with it. I might work with my cue and everything. And I could work with this all day. But let's say I was like, oh man, I just really want to boost the hell out of this and do some crazy stuff here. I'm doing this just for example, right? Well, and I play this.
Every time you expect those eyes to complete the world for you, you'll find just what change can do.
Okay, so I worked on this. And then I say, okay, well, I'm done. I'm going to move on. If I don't listen to it in the context of the entire mix, I'm making a huge mistake. Because for a couple of reasons. One, I could be cutting frequencies and things like that I need. I could be emphasizing things that I had other vocals occupying those frequencies or other tracks occupying those frequencies. And I can just make it a big old mess because we don't listen to just a solo recording. That's not how you listen to music. You listen to music in the context of everything.
On your own, every time you expect those eyes to complete the world for you, you'll find just what change can do. Yeah, and when time and space hold you in your place, and it feels as though you're through.
So if I'm making adjustments here, what I'm doing is I'm listening to it in the context of everything else, and that makes it so much more helpful. The steps to follow, I would suggest, are this. Step one, when you first are doing your first initial EQ moves or you're first working on the vocal, go ahead and work in solo. So, bring up your EQ and do your your high pass filter, do any boosts or cuts that you want to do things like that. Then work on your other instruments that you think you might want to EQ in solo, and especially if you're working on multiple vocals. Then, as you come around, listen to everything in context. And you may find, especially if you've done a few of them, that, woo, you've got a problem. So then do some additional EQ while you're listening to your entire mix. You're doing in context in that case. So 1 solo, 2 in context. And then simply alternate between those two steps as you work through your other instruments. So if you've done all your initial EQ and solo, then you make your adjustments in context for all your instruments. Then you can go back and forth and just kind of say, ooh, maybe this vocal needs some work, and then I can go back and forth. The key is ping pong. Context without context. Context without context. If you are ever just solely EQing without listening to the entire mix, that's going to be a huge mistake. And if you are just only EQing in the entire mix, well, you may miss on some things because solo EQing can be very, very helpful with regards to picking out any more detailed issues that you just can't hear if everything's buried in the context of your entire mix. So do both. That's the lesson. Don't do just one or the other, and you're going to see some great results.